Hi, I'm Ken Mingus. Welcome back to Mingus on Tech, where we talk about what's hot and what's not in technology. I've got Brandon and Keith here with me today, and we're going to talk about roller coasters? What? Wait.
Virtual reality and roller
Okay,
coasters.
thank you. So there is a tech angle here to the roller coaster story du jour.
Yeah, the last time I was here, we talked about kind of the Google Cardboard stuff.
Yep.
Since then, I apparently have become the VR reporter for
You
Network
are?
World, and I did a follow-up piece about how businesses and other non-gaming companies are getting into VR.
Right.
And then Brandon and I stumbled across the fact that this Six Flags.
This just sounds like a
doing-
scam to go to Six Flags.
You know, I
Please.
like
Not
roller
really?
coasters.
This is you went on. This is a work thing, right?
It was
It
a
was.
work thing, yeah.
All right. So this is okay. Just to set the scene.
Yep.
Six Flags,
So
Massachusetts.
Six Flags teamed up with Samsung.
Okay.
They did this strategic partnership marketing agreement
Yeah.
where they added virtual reality to their existing Superman roller coaster. Now,
Okay.
I didn't realize this, but the Superman coaster at Six Flags is like the world's tallest. Well, not the world's tallest. It's the world's tallest, fastest VR coaster now.
Okay.
so-
There are other VR coasters out there?
Yeah. So in the
Okay.
course of discovering this, when we were creating the video and then writing the article, there's this German company called VR Coaster that adds virtual reality components to existing coasters.
Okay.
So then they partnered up with Six Flags, and Six Flags opened like 5 or 6 of them all at the same time
In the U.S.
in the U.S.
Okay.
And
And they also worked with Marvel Comics.
DC
Or
Comics.
DC Comics.
Oh.
Too. Sorry.
Oh, dis. Sorry, we're
DC
sorry.
Comics,
We're
yes.
sorry. Do not hate us. Okay, it was a
DC
mistake.
Comics.
DC Comics,
Superman.
right? To get the licensing to use the Superman and Lex Luthor as part of the virtual reality.
That's part of the
experience.
whole experience.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, they have a helmet when you're
The
lining
goggle
up.
things that
yeah,
you put on.
It's a Samsung Gear VR, and you put the headset on.
Okay.
It's got a Galaxy S7 phone. It reads a QR code at the back on the back of the seat in front of you.
Yeah.
And then that gets sent via Bluetooth to this control box in the middle of the train, and then inside your helmet, you're now riding a roller coaster
but
physically.
Do you see a roller? Do you see like
No.
it's not augmented? The whole thing
Yeah,
is
it's-
like
Yeah,
you're
you
in
put
a
this
cartoon.
on, and
You've
it's
entered a
com-
cartoon, basically.
It's a completely immersive experience. When you put this headset on, you can't even tell you're really on a roller coaster anymore.
Okay.
It's all you see is the screen, and you've entered this Superman world.
and you
Right
can look
now,
all
now,
around.
te-
It's
now
360
technically,
degrees.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, technically, you're riding on a sky train
Okay.
in Metropolis.
Okay.
And then like all
Which in and
sorts
of itself sounds good. That sounds
yeah.
like fun.
Well, you would think it would be a nice leisurely ride, but then all of a sudden,
the Skytrain, all hell breaks
yeah,
loose, right?
Lex Luthor attacks. And,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden now you're physically in the ride and you're going up. You're kind of going up on the roller coaster. You sort of feel that in the virtual space.
Yeah.
The real fun begins when you do that drop.
Yeah.
And then it feels like you're falling. In
because
the
it's
city.
like into open space.
You're like
right?
gonna fall on the ground, and then Superman kind of rushes in and saves you.
Yeah.
And then they start fighting, and it just becomes a wild ride after that.
So, all right. So I'm not a roller coaster rider. I will tell you that right
Yeah.
now. I've jumped out of a plane before, but I will not ride a roller coaster.
Wow, okay.
Okay, I have. Another story, different time. So you've got the VR going, you've got the goggles on, and basically the entire ride, you're seeing things projected in front of you, and Superman
Yes.
is saving the roller coaster. So you ride roller coasters anyway.
I do.
without
Yeah, I'm
VR,
a
right?
fan of roller coasters.
So what was the experience like?
Well, I thought, like I said, it was a completely immersive experience. So
Yeah.
it is actually a pretty intense ride, even without the VR on it. And then when you have the VR on it, there's a lot going on. I thought it was almost a little bit sensory overload.
Okay.
It's like there's a lot going on. You're watching it. You're on the roller coaster. It's going 77 miles an hour. You're going down a 220-foot drop.
Nightmare.
I got a little bit queasy actually doing the VR, and I don't get queasy on roller coasters
Yeah.
normally. So I think the VR might have been a little bit much for me.
Yeah.
But I think Keith enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm a little older than Brandon, so my experience.
And that makes a difference.
Well, because my experience
kids,
with roller
you kids
coasters.
and your
Oh,
crazy.
maybe that's-
Stop. My experience with roller coasters these days are, I get tense when I'm riding a roller coaster.
Okay.
Because I'm
would too.
anticipating either a drop or a turn or something gonna bang my. If I bang my head on roller coasters, and it almost gives me like a little concussion
Okay.
or a headache the rest of the day, or and so I'm a lot more wary about where my body is when I'm on a roller coaster. I think with the VR, all of that went away, and I actually
It was just a fun ride
I
in a
loosened
virtual
up
world.
more and didn't. I think when I tense up on roller coasters now, that's what's helping cause the injuries.
Okay.
Because I'm so worried about that next
That you're gonna
drop,
hit something
or
or-
that I'm gonna, I'm gonna whip around my head, and that's gonna bang into the back. So, but you sort of let that all go with the VR space. Now, they were also telling us that people that are scared of heights,
Yeah.
when they've got the VR helmet on, they don't realize how high up they are because
Yeah.
again, it's all virtual.
You're in a
not-
cartoon.
Right, and so
Sort
you
of.
don't realize that you're 220 feet up in the air, which causes a lot of people to get freaked out about roller coasters. Like, what about roller coasters don't you like?
I think it's just the going up and then the swooping down.
Yeah.
It's that it's the physical sensations. I played around with some of the VR, the Google VR ocular things we were
Right.
looking at one point, and having tried different things with it, I actually got a little queasy just from regular sort of. I mean, this was like the New York Times stories that we were talking about last time, and just because you get so used to sort of looking around but what you're seeing doesn't really match where you are physically in the world.
Right.
And I remember afterwards, I was like, oh, I feel a little,
Yeah,
so
the
I
one
get
the one
queasy
time
thing.
the one time I got queasy was when the physical coaster stops, the virtual coaster keeps going.
That
Like
would,
at the end of the
I
ride,
would think that would throw your brain off.
and that
big
threw my
time.
brain off, and I was like, "Whoa!" But if they hadn't have stopped the coaster, and I think they have to because they're loading up two coasters at the same time.
Yeah.
So usually you stop. If you didn't stop, it probably wouldn't have made me as queasy. I think there's a bigger story there too that I think Brandon and I want to talk about is how businesses are starting to integrate VR. And this is a great opportunity from Six Flags' point. I mean, it doesn't feel like a fad anymore.
No, it certainly seems like this year VR and augmented reality seem to be popping up in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Which would lead you to believe that there's going to be a lot more coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You had mentioned there were some other
Yeah,
ways
I
that
actually
VR
did
was-
another VR experience this year at Fenway Park, home of the Boston Red Sox. They've installed a virtual reality digital dugout, I think is what they call it. It's in
Okay.
the outfield, and you go back there, and it's in the shape of a baseball dugout, and you put on a headset, and it's got, similar to the Six Flags experience, this one actually has earphones as well.
Okay.
And you put it on, and all of a sudden you have pitchers who are throwing you pitches in batting practice. You're standing right next to batters as they're hitting home runs. It's a pretty cool experience. You really feel like you're on the field and experiencing sort of what it's like to be in a baseball warm-up.
Right.
So yeah, I think to Keith's point, it's interesting to see these different organizations sort of how can we take this VR technology and really embrace it. And it seems like at this point it's sort of a draw. It's like people, Six Flags is using this as a marketing tool almost. Come on out to Six Flags, experience this.
Right.